You're listening to the Design Hustle Show. Hey there, it's Jeff from DPI Graphics. I'm your host for the Design Hustle Show. This is where you'll get straight talk about marketing and design from experts in the business. Each episode will tackle some current trends, tips, tricks, and best practices on how to get the most out of your marketing on a budget and provide some insight into how to apply them to your hustle. So grab your favorite beverage and join us for the Design Hustle Show. For this episode of the Design Hustle Show, I welcome back my friend and colleague, Nicoli, as we discuss what should be posted on social media and why. We'll talk about the difference between B2B and B2C posting, as well as platforms to automate and schedule posts. Let's get started. So I'm here with my good friend and colleague, former colleague, I guess we're still colleagues really, Nicoli. And today's topic on the Design Hustle Show is about social posting and the what, where, and when to post on social media.
It's a lot of topics.
It is a lot of, and I'm thinking more high level. You know, we're not going to get right down to the verbiage you need to use for, say, for a B2B on a thing like LinkedIn.
Sure.
Or for an ad, entirely different animal both ways. So let's jump right in. So let's start with the difference between posting for consumers, people like you and I on the on social media,
sure,
versus for a business that may be perusing or may be out there just to get their awareness, their, what's the word I'm looking for?
Attention,
to get their business seen. There's a word for it.
You're talking about like B2C versus B2B.
Yes, that's without saying that specifically.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, you wanted to put down the layman.
Yep.
And what that essentially is business to business and business to consumer. And B2C is all over the place. You'll see B2C every day in coffee shops and online and on billboards and on posters and in TV ads and in YouTube ads. You'll see it all over the place. B2C, I feel like, first off, something I'm not very well versed in, given my last role and my current role were both kind of B2B.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the last role that we shared together, we were B2B. We worked with other businesses to do their B2C, which is a little kind of weird step in the process because all of our marketing was to other businesses to help them do a service. Whereas the current role that I'm in for marketing now is us as a business marketing to other businesses to sell them security things.
Right.
So in terms of B2C, I don't know a lot about it. I know that a lot of the same things exist, like building personas and figuring out characteristics and getting deep within like who you're marketing to and figuring who that person is and speaking to them like they're an individual. All that's the same. But I feel like B2B is a little bit more restrictive, and the way you target and what platforms you target on are different. B2C, should I get into the where of the platforms between these two things, or do you want to lead in?
So let's pick one to kind of follow through to the what, where, and when, and then we'll attack the other side of. So
okay.
Do you want to start in with what we know in
well,
B2B?
Let's start with what we don't know.
Okay. All right. That works for me.
Yeah. So what we don't, we know a little bit about it.
Yes, we do.
I know a little bit about B2C. The what, where, and whens, and I feel bad saying this, Who knows? That's the thing with social media. That's the thing with any kind of marketing is you can look at benchmarks and standards and industries all day. I highly recommend doing that base level research if you've not done any of this yet. Like if you're a new business in the retail space and you sell like trading cards and geeky memorabilia and anime stuff, your platform that you are writing on is not going to be the same as a florist. It's just not, because you're looking at different audiences in terms of their age range, preferences, hobbies, likes, dislikes, and all of that seems inane to a degree, but it helps you round the person out that you're talking to, which helps you figure out the type of language you're going to use and where you're going to promote that. The time, that's a little bit more up in the air. I remember seeing some posts online a few years ago of people who were like social media marketers who were saying like the first year I was into it, I was like, you got to post at this day at this time to this many people. And now after 5 years, I don't know who and when and where anymore because it's all kind of
at the whole 2 to 3 times a week and at this time of day. And yeah.
There are fundamentals that you absolutely should be following. Posting the amount that you post is a fundamental, and that I think changes a little bit, but for the most part you should be posting as much as you possibly can without overdoing it, which again is kind of vague. But if you're posting 2 or 3 times on Twitter a day, that's probably good.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling it X. I'm just not. It's still Twitter.
It is Twitter. Yes.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. Feeds change rapidly.
Especially Twitter,
yeah. Although I've noticed because they have the 2 tabs now. They have the For You page and they have the following page.
Okay.
So I'm taking that terminology from TikTok, but I think some other social media platforms are starting to mimic that a little bit, especially Twitter, not so much Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Mostly it's just Twitter. But they're starting to cater their audience, or they're starting to cater the user preferences based off of things that they see work on other platforms, which is also why Facebook has Reels from Instagram, and Instagram has Reels, and Twitter has short form video, and YouTube has short form video now. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Vine. So like the cadence that you post on Twitter is going to be a lot. The cadence that you post on Facebook is going to be less. The cadence that you post on Instagram is going to be different. Each platform has its own kind of way that users interact with it, and it has a different way that the algorithm works for each platform.
Right.
So to say there's a secret method to all of them that all kind of, you follow this one rule for everything, that's not true. Even saying there's a secret method to one isn't true. The best advice I can give as B2C is pick a platform, or actually better yet, post everything everywhere for like a month. See what works best, and then just focus on that platform and optimize it. And when it's been optimized and you understand the formula and you've tried different messaging and you've tried different times and you've worked on different cadences and you've changed your imagery and really honed down your personas that you're targeting, then you can branch out to a different platform and you can optimize that and then go to the next one, optimize that.
Do you think there's a need for, like, there are umpteen however many social media networks around? Do you think everyone needs to be on everything?
I think eventually and ultimately, yes. I don't think that is a thing. Like within your first year, you shouldn't necessarily be on everything. I think the timing of that is going to change. And I think it's absolutely going to depend on trends. Like you see adoption in social media platforms over certain lengths of time where users flock to social media platforms when a strong base finds it fun and engaging and it becomes popular, And once it's built a base, then you normally start to see businesses adopt it. Some's faster than others.
Right.
And depending on the type of tone of voice that your business has,
Yeah.
that's going to change where you adopt your platforms and what you post on. Like Wendy's has an incredible presence, or they did, on Twitter for a long time because they were snarky and they made jokes and were like, they weren't rude, but it had that tone of voice that people enjoyed and was fun, and
Right.
it was meant to be fun. And if you go on their Facebook now, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's managing it. It's weird. Do you know anything about this?
I have not heard this. I know like the Burger
It's
King
not-
with the king, that's all very weird.
yeah.
This is probably similarly weird.
No, it's very specific. I don't understand the strategy unless it's just to get attention, but they're operating their Facebook as if it's someone's like 56-year-old aunt who's posting weird things that are like pseudo family related. And it's a phenomenon. I don't get it, but I think part of their strategy is people will not constantly, but like will occasionally repost it on Facebook being like, man, Wendy's Facebook page is being weird. And people see that and they go, what? And then they go visit the page. And then that's your awareness, because for Wendy's, they don't really care. They don't do lead engagement. Right. They don't care about making an email list.
No.
But they care about awareness. So you're constantly thinking. So the next time you go, I'm hungry, and you go, man, Wendy's had that weird page. And you go, I could go for a burger. And you go to Wendy's. Right. Because it's that easy of a decision.
It's staying in your brain.
Yeah. Which that's another thing to consider. Are you doing awareness? Are you doing lead engagement? What is the purpose of you posting? What are you trying to accomplish? That also is going to dictate where you're posting, when you're posting, how you're posting, who you're posting to.
Right. So over the course of the last year, I've been reading multiple books, and one of them recommended building a personal brand. And this is maybe a little bit B2B, but it's kind of B2C, where it's basically the concept idea is that you're not taking your business and creating the brand for your business. You're creating it for, say, you. If you were like, say, writing a book or something like that, or any of the other things you do, the gaming, all that stuff, and it's making that your presence on social media as more of a professional kind of, nice headshot of yourself, not, some weird thing. So what do you think about that kind of idea where you're creating a personal brand? It's less of a business thing, but more of a professional. I mean, and you may already do this to a degree where you have the Twitter account that people see, and then you have your, professional Twitter account, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point. A lot of people have multiple presences on the same platform, specifically for that reason. They have a professional one they post to, and then they have a personal one that they have separately. You see this a lot with individual creators on YouTube, TikTok, and what have you, where they have their main account, they have an alt account. Sometimes they use both, and oftentimes they'll use one for the majority of their content for their fans, and they'll use the other one for their fans, but it's kind of like an insight into their personal life. But it's still not them as a whole. It's still an online presence. And I think that's something you have to realize when you're interacting with anyone, is personal brand, I think, pops up more than you realize. I think everyone's creating a personal brand online, even people who aren't in a business or creators. I think they're just individuals, but they want to be perceived a certain way. That's kind of what a personal brand is. Obviously, I have a personal brand on several different channels in a couple different ways. I also have one at work. Like, we create personal brands just in our internal organization.
Right.
As an example of that, I do woodworking. And I've brought that into work in a couple different places where I was the captain of Movember, which is an organization that helps raise money
Yep.
for men's health, for things like cancer treatment and suicide prevention.
Right.
And it's hugely beneficial. We do this every year. Last year, the captain he declined and wasn't able to do it. I took over that role. I'm doing it again this year, and that's become part of my personal brand.
Right.
Is being the captain of this community-related event, and also I made the awards out of wood last year, and I'm making them again.
Nice.
Because of that, we, I guess it's a small little side tangent into personal brand. But we have a partner that we were giving an award to. We had given a different partner an award the year before, and I was trying to find a vendor to make this award. I couldn't. I ended up making it myself, and I was like, I hope this works, and then sent it over to the management team, which in this case was the co-founder of the company and the VP of the Americas. And they were like, we love it. And I was like, great. So again, and that is solidified my personal brand, but it's just through an activity that I am, but then people see that and they perceive it in a way.
Right.
But to get back to the root of the question, you should absolutely be honing in on what your personal brand is. And if it's something that you can take and use for your work, I say do it, as long as it doesn't conflict with anything that you're ethically against or morally against.
Right.
I will say a lot of personal brand stuff happens on Twitter. Or sorry, not Twitter. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is huge for personal brand. That's what a lot of that site contains, especially since it's such a professional platform.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we use at my work is a platform called Halo. It's HAIILO. It's a social advocacy platform. It has two functions. Function one is you can post to that platform internally where only the people in that organization can see the posts. And then you can post in that same feed and make it shareable to things like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. And when you click the share button, it shares it as if you're writing it.
Right.
So you're creating content for people in your organizations to form their own personal brand with content that's been curated.
Right.
So they can take it and then that branches out into their network. And then that happens the same thing with another person that branches out into their network. So instead of you posting on one account where it's getting X amount of views, it's being posted 15 times to 15 different accounts where it's getting a
More
combined total
exposure.
of, yeah, more exposure, more views. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's the same idea as if you post it to one account and then you tell 15 of your employees, like, go share it, say something about it. It's the same thing. And it's not a bad way of spreading that message. And you also, here's the thing, you can't force people to do it. You have to make it optional, where it's like, here's some content, this could be beneficial. If it is, go use it. And that's the way we do it.
I find it really hard to, and this is probably there's no secret sauce for this, is that to create content that someone will on their own say like, oh, this is great, and share it. Like, and that's ultimately the magic in that, is that you want people to share it, whether it's B2B, B2C, like you want them to share. Ultimately, B2C tends to be a wider audience.
Yeah.
And there, like I said, there's no secret sauces to what to post or how to post it or when to put, like, it doesn't matter, but it's that you want them to share it on their own, because otherwise they're not going to do it, or if they do it begrudgingly, they'll be like, it'll be obvious. Like, this person never posts. Oh, they shared this thing. Oh, and it looks like they really don't care about the post at all. So
yeah. This is getting a little bit into the deeper dive territory of this conversation.
Yeah.
But when we talk about, like, there's no secret sauce, what we mean is there are fundamentals, sure, but if you're trying to really drive engagement, the work of making that happen is to be 1, consistent, and 2, open to change, and 3, to pay attention to what's working, what's not working. And sometimes that's just a miss. Sometimes you make a post, you create the content, and you put it out there, and your thought is like, this is gonna do really well because of these reasons,
Right?
And then it just doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, I would repost it again and see if it picks up any more traction. If it doesn't, I know, okay, maybe that content doesn't resonate with my audience. Scrap it and move on to the next thing. And there are some times where you kind of half throw something together and you're like, yeah, that was kind of cool.
This is a dud.
Yeah, you're like, that's fine. You throw it out and it gets way more views than you would have thought. And you're like, okay, that's a great time to rethink your strategy and see, is this a direction I can replicate and follow? And is this the kind of content?
Is it more than a
that
fluke?
Exactly, right. And I've experienced that the most, I think, on TikTok.
Yep.
Where I post small videos to TikTok. And I think when I'm making making content,
Mm-hmm.
filming, editing, creating, doing voiceover, making animations, and I put it out there, and it's like, I just worked like 10 hours on this thing. And it gets, 150 views on TikTok, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I am sitting at lunch bored, and I have a few minutes, so I'm scrolling, and I see a filter. I'm like, that's cool. And then I do a little puzzle thing, and it gets 4,000 views, and I'm just like, okay, so do I chase that? Do I do more of this type of content? Was this a fluke? Like, but those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And I think marketing in general, and this is way dumbed down, but marketing in general is all about asking questions.
Yes.
And once you ask the questions, try to seek the answers.
Yes.
But you need to find the really good questions that point you in the right direction.
Not leading questions, though. Like, they got to be quite, well, I mean...
Yeah, you don't want to sit there, am I awesome? Yes, I am. That's not the question you ask. But the question you ask is, why did this post perform better than the last one? And then you create all of the variables that could have influenced it. Okay, was it the time that I posted? Did I change the audience I posted to? Was it the type of content that I changed? Was it the colors in the image? And a lot of this is tertiary to figuring out your audience.
Right. Yep.
That's step one. And 90% of the work is, who am I talking to, and how do I get to know everything about them that I need to know?
Most of the time, the who should be the first question you ask.
Oh, every time.
And then it'll dictate the what, the when, and the where.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've spent a lot of time on B2C. Probably there's more questions than we've answered.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's switch over now to B2B, which I think we both have a fair amount of experience with. And so I'll let you lead in with B2B. To jump in.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to start with what we don't know with B2C is because a lot of it is applicable to B2B.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still creating personas. You're still figuring out your key performance indicators. What are you looking for? Are you looking for likes and other vanity metrics for some unknown reason? Or are you looking for more concrete things like clicks and opens and conversions? Mostly clicks and conversions are your big metrics for, is this working?
Ultimately, though, clicks, conversions, all the KPI indicators, the KPIs rather, they're just metrics to another bigger goal, or like it's like, do you really want clicks? No, you want people to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's
yeah, I'll give a couple examples, but to get back to, like, I guess the idea of B2B and the differences, B2C is typically mass audiences. It's typically someone coming in and making a one-time purchase or becoming a recurring member of your store or whatever the thing is that you're doing.
Right.
B2B is a little bit different in the way that you're often not selling something to a business, you're normally selling either a service or something that's less tangible. In the case of where I work, we are actually selling a product to a business. So it functions a lot like a B2C.
Is it more of like a productized service, or is it just a straight up product?
So the way that we sell is a little weird. We don't sell direct.
I like weird.
Yeah. So the way our business model functions is we sell through a 2-channel model. So we give it to distributors and integrators through a channel, and then that goes to the end customers. So there have been some big businesses who don't want to go through our 2-tier model. They don't want to go through distributors or system integrators. They just want to buy from us, and we just don't let them. We just won't. And the reason for that is we don't want to cause a rift in that model, because if we're telling our distributors, we'll sell it to you for this so you can resell it, and then we go and sell it ourselves for MSRP, we're undercutting our partners, and we don't want to do that.
No, God, no.
Yeah. So so we just don't allow that to happen, which creates a little bit of a difference in how normal B2B works and how we operate, because we still do direct marketing. We still market directly to an end customer, but then they have to go through the channel. So it gets a little bit weird in terms of how we specifically do things at the place where I work.
How do you guys leverage social for that kind of thing?
So we leverage social in a couple different ways. We primarily use LinkedIn. We have an account on just about every other social media platform that it makes sense to, but the engagement that we get from like Facebook and Twitter is very low.
Yeah. What
I've noticed is the industry just isn't there. They're just not on those platforms.
Right.
And excuse me. And as an example of what that means for us, I guess, or how do I want to phrase this? Something that comes out of us primarily functioning on LinkedIn through that social advocacy platform and its limitations and questions that we need to ask ourselves, because I think we fall into that same trap that a lot of people do, where they say we need to post this everywhere because
that's what we know. That's what we've done forever.
Where that platform limits us in terms of the limitations of video on like LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. They all have different things that they allow. Twitter only allows videos up to a few minutes, and it has to be a very specific size.
Yep.
It's the same thing for Facebook, and LinkedIn's a little bit more forgiving in terms of what you can post. And if you try to post like a 16:9 video that's 6 minutes long, and you try to use all of those platforms, our advocacy platform just won't allow you to, because it's basing it off the smallest, resolution and time. And we've been trying to get around it, and I was just like, just post it on LinkedIn. If you want to post a 16:9, just post it on LinkedIn. It's like, but we want to put it on Facebook and Twitter too. It's like, it doesn't matter. No one's going to watch it on those platforms. There's no engagement there. Just use LinkedIn, and then it works. And if you want people post it on Facebook, then do another post that's identical that's just for Facebook. I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah. It's a big convoluted mess, but
yeah, I did try out some short form videos, since I know that's all the rage these days. And on all of the platforms. Ironically, I got the most engagement in not on LinkedIn, which is where I expected it. More on Facebook now, and I don't know, because of the algorithm and the way it is, I find myself not seeing so much the brands and the companies and stuff that I follow in my own feeds, specifically like on Facebook, but more so like personal interactions and stuff like that. I do tend to see more business places I follow on LinkedIn. Twitter can be just a big old mess. I'm not sure what the ratio is, or if there's any difference to the number of like personal versus folks I follow there. But do you find one format better than another? Like I've seen your company's stuff on LinkedIn, and primarily it tends to be more image based. Occasionally I'll see a video, but it tends to be more straight images that I'm seeing. And does that matter? Is that a across the board kind of thing, do you think? Or do you think B2B is more more just images, or like what's your thoughts on that?
To pull the curtain back a little bit, the reason we do images is because we just don't currently have the resources to make everything a video.
Right.
And we do have really great videos that we've either made at the Americas location that I work at, and at the headquarters in Sweden, where we have like really great animations and videos that have come out that we do use, but they're so few and far in between because it just takes so long to produce them.
Yeah.
But we would absolutely be doing more of that if we had the ability to have a really nice, clean, well-structured video for every single product launch we do. The issue is we do a lot of product launches. We have a ton of products. They come out all the time. And part of that battle is just having the resources and the timeline to produce the content.
Yeah.
And often the fastest thing to produce is an image and some text. So I think businesses that are really strong in their strategies or well connected in what they're promoting, especially if it's not a bunch of different products, but it's one product, they're probably making a video and then upcycling that several times. Upcycling is when you take a long form piece of content and create new content with it by either cutting out clips and making it shorter, or taking some of the assets and making something new. You see this a lot with advertisements on TV, or at least you used to, where oftentimes you would see an ad, it would be a minute long, and you'd see that for a week or two, and then all of a sudden you'd see that same ad 30 seconds.
Chopped down. Yep.
Chopped down. So you're getting the long piece of it where you're getting all the information, and then they take some of that information away and they're only giving you the points that hit.
Short
and
reminder.
It feels a little bit newer. Content creators use this all the time where they film a long video for YouTube. They cut out moments that have either been pre-planned or happened coincidentally. Pre-planning them's better. And they cut that and they put it on short form media sites like a TikTok or Instagram Reels, which is also Facebook Reels. And they put it on YouTube Shorts. And that helps drive engagement. The thing is, short form content for B2B is only beneficial if you're pounding that pavement and doing a lot of it and making it awareness only. You very often do not see conversions from short form videos.
That's fair.
The only times I think I convert is when I'm seeing something that I can buy immediately and it's really cool and it really hits home and I'm like, man, I gotta go check that out. Oftentimes I go to the page and I either kind of hem and haw and say, I don't really need it, and I back out. But I at least go and look and, I'm like, it could be cool. Whatever that product is. I think the last one, there's a new aerospace designed razor. It's like a single blade razor. I'm sure you've seen the ads, maybe. It looks really cool. The person talking about it seems like they're well educated. Well, yeah, who knows?
Right.
But it seems interesting.
Yeah.
I've purchased razors from ads like that in the past, and I haven't been impressed. Different kind of razor though. I went to the page. It was more expensive than I wanted to pay, and I said, no, thank you. But that's the type of thing that I think people are maybe engaging with on those short form content sites. If you're something like the business that I work for, Short form video might not be the answer, because for us, it's normally a conversion from that to a landing page that then has a bunch of information on it that then maybe you fill a form out to get in contact with someone. And then it starts a journey.
Yeah.
It's not an immediate satisfaction thing. It is a long process of interest, and it's a big buyer's journey where there are many steps, and it's not a click to buy, it's a click to another thing, to then a conversation, to then a meeting, to then a demo, to then a purchase through a distributor.
And I think that's that's probably the big difference between B2C and B2B is B2C is very much an instantaneous get it, buy it, transactions done.
And then a week later it shows up and you go, oh yeah, Instagram. I forgot.
And then B2B is more of a, all right, taste it, touch it, feel it, pass it through your lower intestine kind of thing. It needs to be thought over. You always have to
decisions.
You always got to have more people involved with the decision, the demos and stuff like that. And I think that's probably the reason that images go over more. Like, it's hard to get people to sit and watch a video, on a business level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And definitely someone who's in a buying, like in a position of buying, has that power, is not someone who's spending probably a lot of time on social media.
Correct. Yeah.
And if they are, they're probably not looking to be sold in a video with a bunch of technical points, which is why a lot of our videos are just like high level overviews, and you kind of see what the thing does, and you might think that's kind of cool, and then you can start that conversation or get that click to a landing page to convert, or whatever you want to do from there. But yeah, it's a different mentality, and it's a different kind of person looking at the content. And the people who are in those positions, they look at that content. They're on most of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
So there's value in posting to multiple places. The issue is, does the segment that you're working in exist on those platforms? And not always.
Right. So where, if any, place do you think social has in a sales funnel? Is it top funnel, maybe middle of funnel, or is it maybe all areas of the funnel?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Because I think when we think about funnel, we're not necessarily thinking about platform to level of funnel. We're more thinking about message to funnel.
Right.
So, like, I don't think we've necessarily given, and I say we, I mean, the organization I work with,
right.
have necessarily given it a thought to say social media is only or mostly ever used in top level funnel. But I think the way we think about it is the message that we're creating is a message that is speaking to people who are near the top level of this funnel. And we're going to put that message on LinkedIn. And simultaneously, you can write messaging for, lower level buyer, like level journey
Personas, and using personas to
I just mean like, this person's ready to buy. The message we're writing is for a person who's ready to buy. Right. You can still put that on LinkedIn,
right.
But it's going to be perceived differently. I do think if you're writing organic social media posts, especially for LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, for B2B, it's probably top to mid. Top in an awareness sense that you're maybe making something that is interesting, that will get someone's attention, that they might bookmark or save for later, or like it, and maybe they'll see their likes somewhere down the line.
Right.
And then for mid, they're probably in the process of making that decision or comparing a couple different options. They're not ready to buy yet, but maybe they're in the mindset of, I'm looking at these couple different options, and they see that post, and it speaks to them on a level of, this is another option to consider.
Right.
And that better have a landing page that has more information because they're in research phase. They're going to want to go do research. You need to make it easy for them to click a thing and have all their information that they want. And if they fill out a form, cool. If they don't, that's fine. But they've seen the information. It's saved in their address bar. They can type a few characters and probably get back to it, which is most likely what they're going to do.
In incognito.
Yeah. In incognito mode.
Yeah, good old incognito.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that social media platforms only exist in one level of the journey, but I would say that the message that you're writing is stronger, is a stronger reason for it to exist in one of those, and any of them could be on social media. Maybe not the buyer's journey so much, unless you're B2C, where that buyer's journey is see it, love it, click it, buy it.
Yep.
But yeah, beginning and mid, definitely. And it all really comes down to the content that you're writing and who you're writing for.
Excellent. Well, I hope this has been valuable for you. It's been valuable for us, I think.
Yeah.
So one final question. I know I've asked you before what your favorite lunch spot is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with what's your favorite beverage?
My favorite
beverage. Yes, beverage.
Ooh.
See, this is going to require some thought.
Well, I have beverages for different occasions.
Okay, your relaxing beverage. What do you like to like end the day with, and just kind of chill out with?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I go through phases.
Yep.
And if I'm in a phase where I'm drinking alcohol, it's normally a bourbon of some kind.
Okay. Yep.
Which is normally Maker's Mark's 46 French oaked cask whiskey. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's something new that I purchased. If it's like winding down, end of day, I'll have like a drink maybe. But I haven't been on an alcohol kick in a while. So the thing that I'm mostly drinking is like lime or lemon lime seltzer. That's like my go-to. And I drink water. That's the other thing I have the most of is just water, which is not a fun answer. But I will say the thing that I've been craving a lot more, and I had to will myself not to get it this morning when I was coming back from disc golf, is a large iced Americano black. From, I don't care where it's from. The more independent the coffee shop, the better.
Right.
But I'll drink a Dunks. I don't like it, but I'll drink it. I drink that the most because it's close to my house.
Right.
But there's a place in Derry that's, I forget what it's called. It's like the Coffee Bean or something.
Yep.
It's like not just, totally independently owned, but they make great coffee. Iced Americano from them. Taken black, nothing in it.
There you go.
I like it a lot. So yeah, it was seltzer, water, bourbon, iced Americano.
Not in that order necessarily.
No.
So, all right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Me. Yeah. I can't wait until we get to do another episode of something I know something about.
All right. Thanks. Well, that's it for this episode of the Design Hustle Show. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed it, please give us an honest review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. Show notes for this episode are available on our website, designhustleshow.com. Got a question that you want to hear us discuss on the air? Drop us a line at designhustleshow@dpigraphics.net or visit our website, designhustleshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.